Rainy. And Neva. And this is Rainy's channel. Okay. Obviously Neva is here. So we are doing some fun duo collab book things. And I can't really talk. So that's also that. Anyway, in today's video, we are going to be tier ranking thriller tropes. Because we both like to read thrillers a lot. Yes. So I did steal this tier ranking thing from Hailey Hughes, so I will make sure to put her down below. Like and subscribe to her because she's great. Also like and subscribe to here because I'm great. Also like and subscribe to Neva because she's great. Like and subscribe to all the people. But yeah, we're just gonna see if we align in our thriller tastes of like different tropes and things, because there are certain things that I know that I love, and then there's other ones that when I find out that's a thing, I'm like, no. So that's what we're gonna do, and then that's it. Okay, goodbye. Off to tier ranking land. Anyway, so these are our categories. We have literally die, as in if we see this or know it's in a thriller, it just is like, no, I don't want to read this. And then pushes me away is like, I don't really know. That's just kind of sus for me. And then depends on the use. I mean, that just depends. Depends on how it does. Pulls me in. I'm more inclined to buy this. And then this is like auto buy. Like, if I know this is it, I'm going to buy it. Because that's the vibe that we're going for. Okay. All a dream. What you feel, Neva?
All a dream?
Like, it was all a dream.
It'll pull me in.
Oh, that's a hard literally die for me. Why is that pulling you in?
Because... well, maybe it's between, like, pull me in and depends on the use.
Okay, why?
Because the trope itself will intrigue me, but depending on how it's actually used in the book is going to determine...
yeah, but I feel like anytime it's like, it was all a dream, it's like at the end, and it just negates everything that happened prior. And to me, I'm like, okay, since we asked you first, it'll go to pull me in, but I'm also just hardcore like, oh my gosh, no. I literally want to die thinking, I would never do that. Okay, so for me, multiple point of view. Honestly, that pulls me in. I like multiple points of view.
Multiple point of view is an auto buy for me.
Okay, so see, we're like almost there. So I'm gonna stick it there. Pulls me in. I do like reading from multiple perspectives. I always have.
Yeah, I do too.
That doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Okay, is it a ghost? So like, I guess paranormal.
I would say pulls me in.
I would say depends on the use. Because if I know going into it that it's going to be a paranormal thriller, I'm totally going to vibe with it. And if I don't know that, and I'm thinking of 2 books in specific that I didn't realize were going to be paranormal, then I'm just like, no. Because if I thought it was going to be realistic and then it's solved paranormally, I get really pissed.
I mean, that's a mood.
That is a mood. But you picked this one, so it goes to pull me in. Everything's just going to be pull me in.
Probably.
All right, the next one is blackmail. I don't really care for that. That's like pushes me away.
Yeah, also pushes me away.
I'm like,
because I wouldn't say that it's like a deal breaker, which is what I feel like literally dies.
I just don't really care.
But like, I don't care that you're trying to like blackmail somebody.
Yeah, I don't really care. Goodbye. You can go to pushes me away. Okay, missing kid.
Depends on the use. For me.
Like, yeah, probably.
A missing kid depends on the use for me, because depending, like, I can think of one book in particular. It depends on, first of all, why the kid is missing, like what was the circumstance, but it also depends on, like, how that particular thing is used.
Yeah, I'm like,
because like Jackal, I liked Jackal, the book that came out last year.
I
gave that 5 stars.
I still need to read
and
that.
It has and that's the trope in that. Is that there's a missing child that opens up other investigations about missing teenagers. And for that book, I liked it, but like The Chain, I didn't like that book.
I haven't read that either. I'm fine. We can put it on depends on the use, because I do think it depends on that. I'm just like, it's okay. It's not my favorite. It's not my least favorite. It's just in the middle. Okay, Stalker. That's a depends on the use for me one.
For me too.
I'm like, because, I mean, I'm kind of reading a Stalker one right now, and I'm just like, that one's not vibing for me. But then there's been other ones that I've read where there's a Stalker, and I'm like,
the You series is Stalker.
Yeah, that works for me.
And I love it. Like, I absolutely love it.
Joe Goldberg is a creepy man.
But there are Stalker books that I'm like, what is this? So I definitely
I'll put
agree.
that on depends on the use. All right, mental health twist. That's literally die for me.
A mental health twist is definitely going to push me away, but most of the time it's literally die.
Because I just don't like when you explain something away with a mental health thing. Especially because most of the time the people that do it, I'm like, you don't know mental health, obviously.
The one exception that I can think of off the top of my head when it comes to like a thriller, horror type book was, I know not everyone likes this book, it's controversial, it's fine, but was The House Across the Lake. Because while she had mental health issues and alcoholism, it worked for me.
Well, we both said literally die, so let's go in there. Goodbye. You can go in the dumpster. Podcast.
Auto-buy.
Oh, really?
Yes. Especially if it's because almost always if it has something to do with a podcast, you get podcast elements not only in the book but also in the audiobook. That is an auto-buy for me. Auto-buy.
It pulls me in because I've honestly really enjoyed most books that have had a podcast, like The Last Housewife. I really enjoyed that one. There was... I've read a couple recently that have had podcasts. I feel like that's more an up-and-coming thing. I'm like...
The Weight of Blood? There.
Oh, yeah. That was fabulous.
That was great. And then, I know you haven't read them yet, but the first 2 books in Good Girl's Guide to Murder...
Okay, well then, okay, we'll go with that. Okay, well, Creepy Kid goes to Auto-buy.
Auto-buy. You love a creepy kid.
I do.
Because here's the thing, like, my kid, like, for those that are on your channel that know nothing about me, I have an almost 6-year-old, and she is creepy. Like, children, just in general, are just creepy, and when you put that in a book, I'm like... Give it to me.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, I shouldn't like these as much as I do. But The Bad Seed is also like one of my favorite movies ever. And that's just a whole vibe.
The Orphan? I love that movie.
I'm kind of scared of that one.
I mean, it's scary, but it's good. I mean, technically she's not a kid, but like, you think she is.
That's true. Alright, what about family drama?
Family drama pulls me in. But it's not an auto-buy for me.
I think it depends. Like, because I read a Sherry Lupino book that was all just family drama, and I could not have been more bored to tears. But then there's other books that I've been like, oh yeah, like, I'm just living for this. So I think it just depends.
Put it in depends on me.
Alright, Amnesia.
Amnesia, for me, is at least a pulls me in. But... It's in thrillers. That's what I should add.
Okay.
Because I just read a book. I read Never Never last month. And, so at the time of filming this, last month would have been March. And I didn't like that book. But it's not supposed to be a thriller. It's supposed to be a romance.
Well, I read The Stranger in the Mirror by Liv Constantine, and that's an amnesia trope, and I absolutely loved that.
Yeah, so I would say pulls me. It at least pulls me in. Like, when I read it, maybe not. But, like, if that's in the synopsis, I'm gonna pick it up.
Honestly, I probably would, too. I feel like sometimes it depends on the use, but I do generally like amnesia tropes. Whereas this one, not who we thought twist. Okay, well, that's always an auto-buy.
That's an auto-buy for me.
But it's like, how are you going to know?
Because here's the thing is, me personally, I know some people do try to guess what's going to happen.
I never try to guess.
First of all,
actually, no, sometimes. In A Flicker in the Dark, I tried my hardest. I really did. I thought I had it. I thought I had it 2 different times. And then at the end, I was like, are you kidding me? And my one friend who also read it at the same time was like, girl, like, I knew 10 pages in. And I'm like, no, you didn't. And then I went back and read the beginning, and I was like, are you kidding me? It's so obvious.
I'm, like, about to look right now because there was a No Home for Killers. That's what it was called.
Okay.
At the beginning of the year, I had an arc called No Home for Killers.
Yeah.
I thought I knew who it was, like, at the end. Like, I was like, I know who this is, blah, blah, blah. And it got to the end, and it was a completely different person. So, like, ever since that book, I've just stopped trying to guess. Because I'm always wrong.
I know, but I really like it. But it's like, how can I know that that's going to be the book?
Right. Right.
I know.
Yeah.
And then we have toxic friendships.
So, it pulls me in.
It kind of pushes me away.
And I have a reason for it pulling me in.
Okay, why?
Because somehow last year I got a lot of arcs that had this trope in it, where it was like one that I can think of off the top of my head is literally called Best Friends Forever. That's what it was called. And the books that I got last year, those all worked for me when it came to toxic friendships.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that it would... I wouldn't, like, automatically buy a book that had a toxic friendship in it.
I don't know. That just kind of pushes me away. I'm just like, I don't really care if you guys... I don't know. It just depends for me. I'm trying to think of any toxic friendship books that I've read that I've been like, oh yeah, this is great. I'm like, I can't think of one. I'm like, I'll stick it in the middle.
I was going to say we could put it on depends on the use. That's a nice middle ground.
Cults. That's auto-buy.
Auto-buy. We love a cult, man.
I really do.
I would never want to be in a cult.
But they're just intriguing to me.
But it's just so fascinating.
And I know there are people that, like, that's a hard, like, no. And I'm like, I don't know all about it.
And the thing
cults,
is like, and also, like, if you are someone who's been in a cult.
Well, yeah, I understand not wanting to read it.
So, like, I understand, like, not wanting to read it, but it's just so intriguing to me.
Like, one of my favorites that I read was Just Like Mother, and that's, like, a mom-baby cult, and that was kind of freaky to read while I was pregnant, but also, it was fantastic. So, you know, it is what it is.
We love a cult.
Unreliable narrator. That depends on the use.
It depends on the use for me also, because sometimes the unreliable narrator is so unreliable that you hate them.
Yeah, I like Mothered by Zoya Stage, which I just read. She was so unreliable. It was like they would do flashbacks of, or what I thought was the present day, and then you find out it was either a dream or a flashback, and it was very confusing, and I never knew what was going on, and I was like, this is like beyond a level of unreliable that I'm like even okay with. So
again, I know, controversial, not everyone likes this book, but The House Across the Lake I thought was good with the unreliable narrator.
No, that was good with that.
A lot of people didn't like that book because of the twist, which
yes.
I understand.
Me. Peace. Hello.
But the main character is unreliable the entire book.
No, and I like that.
You don't hate her. Like, you feel... Like, I felt bad for her.
I might have hated her.
I felt bad for her at some points in the book. Maybe because of my personal struggle with addiction. She's an alcoholic. I wasn't an alcoholic. But I felt badly for her in some parts. In other parts, I was like, you are really terrible and annoying. But you were intrigued by her and trying to figure out what she was telling the truth about and what she wasn't.
Yeah.
You know?
I can see that.
So, yeah. Definitely depends, I think.
Alright, well, Haunted House is a pulls me in.
Haunted House also pulls me in.
I'm like, it's not always auto-buy because it really depends, but like, I really love a good Haunted House book. I might not have loved the How to Sell a Haunted House one, but like, I still just like a good book with a good spooky haunted house. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I like a haunted house. Like, if you tell me, hey, this is a haunted house book, I'm at least gonna pick it up.
Yeah, which I'm doing a haunted house vlog right now, so actually I need to get a little behind on reading the other ones, although I'm a little scared because Spite House is one of them, and I've heard nothing but bad stuff about that book. So, we'll see. This might not be my favorite anymore. Police POV. That is literally die for me. I could not care less to hear from a cop.
So, it pushes me away.
Okay.
Because I have experienced one, I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head right now, but I got it from NetGalley. Let me see if it's still on my NetGalley. Because I got it from NetGalley last year, and it did have... I mean, it was technically in third person, but it did have a, like a cop's point of view. Like, you did follow the cop.
Okay. I'll put it
and I did enjoy it. Like, it was, I don't have it in my NetGalley anymore. But I did enjoy that, but it's not all the time that I'm like, yes, police. Like, I don't always want to read from a cop's point of view because I don't care.
No, most of the time I'm just bored with that. I'm like,
I'd rather read from the villain's point of view.
Yes. Alright, what about speculative twists? For me, that's a pulls me in.
I just don't care.
Okay.
Either way, to be honest. Like, it's not even like a, like, oh my god, that literally makes me want to die. It doesn't even really push me away. I just don't necessarily care.
Okay.
So, put it in pulls me in. Because, like, I don't necessarily care about a speculative twist unless it's done badly.
Yeah, I guess that's good. What about isolated setting? For me, that's an auto-buy.
Also an auto-buy.
Even though I have hated many an isolated setting book, but I don't know. I hear isolated setting and I'm like, give me it.
I was about to say, because like the writing retreat, I gave that 3 stars.
Well, I didn't like the writing retreat. I didn't like One by One. I didn't care for the hunting party. I mean, these were all Agatha Christie like retellings.
But it's still just like being told like, oh, it's an isolated setting. Like I
don't know. I just like that.
Read it, so I'm still gonna buy it, even if I hate it.
Yes, I mean that's exactly it. I will still buy it, even though I have a feeling I'm not gonna like it that much. I don't know.
But I'm still gonna buy it though.
And then we have Return to Hometown. Oh, so that's probably like it. Like when the people. Like,
yeah, it depends on the use for me.
That's just like I could care less. So I guess we'll put it on depends on the use. I'm just like, I don't really have an opinion on this. I don't really care. If we were doing
like romance tropes and it was like Return to Hometown, I would say that's what pulls me in. Because sometimes, because most of the time, like in a romance book, when they go home, they have a romance at home.
Yeah.
And usually it's like a friends to lovers or something like that, or second chance. And that is what pulls me in for sure. But in a thriller, it really depends on how it's used. Because if it's used like Jackal, which she returns to her hometown and lives with her mother, that worked for me. But there are thrillers where they go to the hometown and I'm like, what was the point? Like, they could have done this from wherever they live now. You know what I mean?
That's true. Alright, what about Revenge?
Revenge is an auto-buy for me.
I don't say it pulls me in. I really do love a good revenge story. I also just loved the show Revenge. Have you ever seen that?
Yes! That's a comfort show for me. Like,
that show is so good.
I literally love that show so much. And, I know it was very overhyped. It was very hyped.
Okay, that show was so good.
I didn't want to say overhyped.
That show was fantastic.
But it was very hyped when it was on. But that is a show that, if I have nothing else to watch and I'm I just need something in the background or whatever, I will turn that on because it will always pull me back in.
Yeah, it's always good.
Oh, so good.
Revenge. Which that just reminded me because she's also in a hospital show that I used to watch.
Is, yeah.
And
she's in a lot of stuff.
I stopped watching that show because I'm pretty sure they killed her off in that show because she wanted to leave that show.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking about that show again. I need to go back to it.
She's in, I think it's on Hulu.
Yeah, I know. I don't know
I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember what it's called.
I can't remember what it's called.
The Resident.
Yes, I love that show.
I loved that show. Yes. I stopped watching it, but we'll go back to it one day. Dual Timeline. That's an auto-buy for me.
I love a dual timeline.
I really do. I just but it depends.
It does
depend on what the dual timeline is and how they do it. But I will always buy it because, for example, the book I just read, The Soulmate by Hailey Hepworth, it's a multiple POV and a dual timeline, so it follows two people.
Yeah,
but it'll have a before and an after.
Right.
And I've honestly I really ate that up.
I honestly like a dual timeline in every genre. There's really no genre that I personally read that if you say it's a dual timeline, I'm gonna buy it.
I just don't know if I've ever really read it in other books. I probably have, but
you definitely get dual timelines in romance.
Yeah,
especially contemporary romance.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, then I probably would do it for all. All right, what about alcoholic main character?
For me,
that depends on the use for me.
For me, most of the time, it will push me away. If I'm aware that they are an alcoholic before reading it, and the reason is because I feel like the addiction / alcohol trope is not usually done well.
Yeah.
And as someone who has dealt with people in my life being alcoholics and also my own drug addiction issues, I don't like when it's made to look like addicts are just people that chose to be that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it can be very insensitive. So if you tell me, if someone had told me that the house across the lake that the main character drank as much as she did, I would have never picked it up.
Yeah.
But because I had already started it, I was like, okay, it fits with the story. So I gave it a chance and it fit with the story.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't even say that it was necessarily done well.
Well, I was going to say there were people that were making drinking games for how many times it said whatever drink she was drinking.
And I made jokes about it. But I would, on 24 Hour Sprints, I was like, the amount of times this woman says the word bourbon in this book.
Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable. What are you doing? Are you trying to drown yourself? I'm confused. So I wouldn't even say that it was necessarily done well, but it worked with what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
So I was willing to be forgiving.
That's true. All right, Morally Gray. That's auto-buy for me.
I love a morally gray character.
I do love a morally gray character.
In a thriller, in a horror, and in a fantasy.
And in a dark romance.
Because I feel like you need them.
You do need them. Morally Gray is fabulous. I cannot
romance,
say anything bad about it.
Contemporary romance is the only genre I can think of that or contemporary fiction is the only genre I can really think of that I'm like, you don't need a morally gray character. But everything else, you need a morally gray character.
Yeah, I agree. The next one. How far will you go for your family?
I don't care. To be honest.
I think that's a pulls me in one only because
for me, it's between pulls me in and it depends on the use. So you pick where you put it. It's definitely not an auto buy though.
It's not an auto buy. It reminds me of Taken where he's like, I will die.
That's true. In Taken, which is a thriller movie, action movie, I will always watch.
Well, I'm just thinking of an extreme horror book I read that was How Far Will You Go for a Family, and I was just thinking like of all the stuff that happens in that, and I'm like, would I go that far for my family? And I'm like, probably. I'd hope I would, but
right. So maybe So I mean, it's not going like that's not going to make or break whether I read a book.
Yes, that's true. All right, what about a whodunit? That's like a full blown mystery. That's kind of
to me. It depends on the use.
Yeah, I'm not like huge on whodunit ones
because like I'm not a big like Sherlock Holmes person.
Oh, I'm not, and Agatha Christie I've learned is not really my jam.
So like it really depends on why you were doing a whodunit. Because like technically, you could categorize a Good Girl's Guide to Murder
as a
whodunit because she's trying to figure out what actually happened to this girl in her town. So I liked it in that.
Yeah.
But like a full blown like murder mystery, it depends for me.
Yeah, that's true. That makes sense. All right, Good for Her. That's auto buy for me.
Auto buy.
I just love a good for her feminine energy, and the book that comes to mind to me is They Never Learned by Lane Fargo.
Because I think that's why I like a revenge trope. Because almost always a revenge trope is a good for her.
Have you read They Never Learned though?
No.
What are you doing? Would you like?
Oh, I need to read this?
It's fantastic.
Okay, I'll read this.
It's multiple POV, and I think it's also dual timeline. And it's just...
Okay, when we're done filming this, I will look it up. I'll see if I can find it on Libby.
I mean, you should, because it's fantastic. It's like, it was one of my top books of last year. I love it.
Okay, great.
I love it so much. Okay, Small Town.
I don't care. In a thriller,
pushes me away.
I don't care. Yeah, I would say pushes me away.
In a thriller, less.
I don't care. If you said in a contemporary romance, cool. Like I love a small town trope in a contemporary romance because it makes it feel cozy.
Care.
But in a thriller, I don't give a crap.
I'm like, I don't really pay attention to that, whether it's small town, big town, whatever it is. All right, what about Cheating Spouse?
Literally die.
Yeah.
I cannot. I do not like cheating. Cheating is a thing that which is really funny because I'm pretty sure that the Colleen Hoover books that I just bought from Target, I'm pretty sure one of them has a cheating trope in it.
Well, for me, it's even like, especially if like the twist is because of cheating. Like, no.
And my thing is like, if you tell me that the main plot circulates around a cheating scandal, I'm not gonna read that.
Yeah,
like I literally will jump off a bridge first.
That's a little hasty.
But like for what reason?
I mean, you're right.
No, thank you.
And rich people drama. That is auto buy for me.
You got me into the rich people drama. This is you. Like,
why?
You
what
did
book?
This to me. Because you had me read, your favorite book of the world.
Not Other People's Clothes.
So
they are kind of rich.
So you had me read Other People's Clothes,
which is fabulous.
Which is great. And then I don't remember what the book is, but it was definitely like a rich people.
Well, for me, I'm thinking of One of Us is Dead by Geneva Rose because I love that book.
And I was like, this is everything that I need. Because the thing is like, Big Little Lies.
I haven't read that yet. I've watched the show, though.
Okay, so Big Little Lies is rich people drama. If you watch the show, you know the premise of the book.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot that they leave out, but you know the premise. So, I read Big Little Lies years ago. Like, high school or maybe right after. I don't know. It's been out for a long time. And then I watched the show, and then I read Other People's Clothes, and I was like, this is a great book. And then I reread Big Little Lies at some point. I don't remember. It was after I watched the show, though. I think I may have actually reread that before I read Other People's Clothes. But Big Little Lies is rich people drama, and it's a thriller, and it's like, it's just so intriguing to see how rich people deal with murder.
Well, it's even so better intriguing. If it's like rich, like socialite, domestic housewives drama. Right. I've learned it's like my favorite. And
that's exactly what Big Little Lies is, because they're all like these like rich housewives. I mean, most of them have had like careers prior to being housewives. Yeah. Like two of them I know were like lawyers or something. But like the fact that they're like, well, we know what the law is. We know what we can get away with. And then you, like, watch them try to deal with it. And I'm like, well, also you, after season 1, is technically rich people drama. Because love is rich.
That is true.
Her family is
That
very
is true.
well off.
That is true. But that is our thing, friends. So we agreed on all the auto buys.
We really did.
We did, and we agreed on the literally dies. And then it was like in here that like
we were kind of all over the place with that. But I think we mostly, if we really couldn't agree between pushes me away and pull me, we just put it on.
But it's like we really love the same things and really hate the same things. And then the middle is just like, I like this more and I hate this more. You know, so all that matters is the auto buy and the literally die.
I'm glad that we're on the same page with that.
Yes. Okay. Well, this was the end of our tier ranking thriller video. And now you're going to see us in bigger form as we say goodbye. Well, that was our tier ranking for Thriller Tropes, friends. Let us know in the comments below if you agreed with where we placed things, or what your favorite thriller trope is, what your least favorite thriller trope is. Let us know all the things.
Yeah.
Yes. But obviously, Neva won't be in these forever. So, just hang out with us. I think I have one more video after this that's coming up, where Neva chose some books for me to read, and then I'm going to have a video on her channel as well. So make sure to check that out sometime in the next week or so. Yes. But we will see you in another video separately on our own channels very, very soon. So, goodbye.